Why is there someone recording a fight like this and not calling for help?
Dr. Leslie Davis watched video of the horrific fight as a 15-year-old slammed 16-year-old Kaylee Gaines' head into the ground several times near Hazelwood East High School last week.
Just seeing her laying on the ground helpless, and how there was an outbreak of other fights around her, and she's just laying there. It seemed like she was very, very hurt physically, but no one was coming to help her. No one checked on her.
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I would love it if you would help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button now. And if you're returning, welcome back. I truly do appreciate your continued support on my channel, and I hope that you are subscribed as well. So before I get into what the opening video was talking about, which was a fight at Hazelwood High School that happened within the last week or so that led to a high school student being put in critical condition and who is now currently fighting for her life, I wanted to rewind a little bit and talk a little bit more about Nex Benedict first and just contrast the narratives that are being pushed, or rather not pushed about one situation, but heavily pushed and falsely pushed about the other situation. So just maybe about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer, I did do a video about Nex Benedict, about her background, about some of the things that were being said that led to the situation that she found herself in, which was that she got into a fight in a school bathroom, and the next day she was apparently rushed to the hospital where she passed away. And the media ran with this story that the bullying happened as a result of, or was because Nex is apparently non-binary and goes by they, them pronouns and is just constantly being bullied at her school because of this. And of course, this is just, an extension of the wider narrative that apparently no schools are safe for transgender students because there are people that oppose legislation for allowing minors to get surgeries that mutilate their bodies and all of these other things. So all of this has been kind of tied into this young lady's death. Her situation has been exploited as much as anything that we have seen lately to kind of push this narrative forward that unless we allow these laws to pass, that there is no transgender student that is safe in America today. But my video I did after we saw the police body cam footage, and interestingly enough, shockingly, the police body cam footage did not align at all with what the media had said happened to Nex. And I do want to note, in my other video, I did call her Dagny because that is her name. It sounds to me like Nex was more of a nickname for her, and honestly, I just find Nex easier to say, but if I do happen to switch back and forth between Dagny and Nex, just know that it's the same person, and just the whole firestorm that this story has become just makes it really difficult to keep track sometimes. But while the media wanted us to believe that she was the victim of a horrific attack for being transgender, what actually came to light, as admitted by Nex herself, that she was the one who started the fight, that these girls were just kind of being jerks to her and making rude comments, and she walked up to them and threw water on them, and that is what started the physical altercation, because as said by the police officer in that body cam footage, throwing water on somebody is considered assault because, for one thing, we don't know what's in that bottle. It could be anything. It could be a chemical. It could be urine. And that is considered grounds for, putting the blame on her as the person who instigated the physical part of this fight. There were also stories saying that I think the implication is that somebody slammed Nex's head into a paper towel dispenser and then she fell on the floor and blacked out. But what really happened is that throughout the fight, she slammed another girl into the paper towel dispenser, fell on the floor, and when she says that she blacked out, it was actually just, the adrenaline was going. She didn't actually pass out, but at that point, everything was a blur and she really couldn't remember a lot of the details about what happened after that. Her grandmother, who is her legal guardian, took to the media to say that when she saw Nex in the hospital, her face was bruised, it was cut, she had scratches everywhere. And from the way that it sounded like Nex was part of this pretty horrific fight. But then you see her on the body cam footage and she is sitting there, she's talking, there's no signs of, any kind of physical injury whatsoever. She has her glasses on, which you would think would have been broken if the fight had been that bad. And then when she was rushed to the hospital the next day and passed away, the media automatically assumed or put out there that it was probably because of the injuries that she sustained during the fight. And again, this is just an extension of the violence that all transgender students are facing these days. And just a couple of days ago, we found out the truth of the matter is that Nex actually ended up taking her own life, which is absolutely tragic and horrifying, and it is just so incredibly sad because even if you watch her on the police body cam footage, she seems like a really nice girl. And then considering all of the things that we are finding out about her background and about just the trauma of her upbringing, which led to her grandmother being her legal guardian, again, she seems like a really nice person, but definitely there are struggles there. And as much as everybody, of course the media is saying that she took her own life as a result of the bullying that she was dealing with, there is so much trauma throughout her childhood that her struggles did not start the day that she decided to change her identity. Her struggles didn't start the day that people, questioned how she was dressing or made rude comments about her sense of style or whatever it was that these girls were saying because, she said that they were commenting on her outfit. Her struggles started long before that, and who knows what was going through her head the next day when she decided that, this was not worth facing anymore. But as much as, again, the media wants us to believe that this is all just because of violence against trans people, all they're doing is exploiting her death to push their narrative and ignoring every ounce of struggle and trauma that this poor girl has faced probably since the time that she was very young. And that led to this decision to unfortunately take her own life. And you would think the more information that comes out, the media would back off, or at least they would attempt to correct some of their previous statements, or at least acknowledge that there is far more to Nex's, life and the things that she was struggling with that led to her decision, other than just her pronouns and just her LGBTQ identity. They're literally putting her in this little box and making it seem like that is all of who she was. Like she's not an actual person. She is just an LGBTQ identity, and that's it. I shouldn't even say shockingly anymore because it's not shocking. They are continuing to run with this story and repeat the lies that they have said before the police body cam footage even came out, before her cause of death even came out. They are continuing to push the lies. And part of that lie was to actually blame Kaya Rychik of Libs of TikTok directly for her death, because apparently Kaya being appointed to a library committee in Oklahoma led to Nex not feeling like she could continue with her life. I don't know. It's a big stretch to make, but that is essentially what the media does all the time. They've got to stretch outside of the truth to find things to support their narrative, because nothing in the box of truth actually supports the things that they are saying. So let's just hear a little bit of what they had to say, and I promise this is relevant to the original story that I opened with, because one of the biggest claims that they are making is that they care so much about violence in schools, that they care so much about these kids' lives, that they care so much about the bullying and the dangers that kids are facing when they go to school. But it really isn't about that, which becomes blatantly obvious with the things that they continue to put out there.
In this case, the idea of a fight in a bathroom probably sparks fear in the hearts of most parents of LGBT or non-conforming kids.
Just right there. No, it sparks fear in the hearts of all parents, because the number of videos that I see on a daily basis about the fights breaking out in schools and the insane violence that has just gone off the rails in schools. We're not talking about just normal school fights. We are talking about kids, as we will talk about in a few minutes, about Kaylee Gain, who are actually, it seems that they are actually trying to kill each other. Like, this is a huge issue. It is not something that is exclusive to parents of LGBTQ students.
I assume we are losing our kids, and we're losing it because of so many politically motivated attacks that are putting laws in place and creating a culture of violence. You've got one of the founders of Libs of TikTok who was appointed to an advisory board in the state. She doesn't even live in the state and was appointed to an advisory board. Let's be clear. This is egregious, and it's something that every parent, every person watching should be fearful of.
They started out talking about the fight, but it seems like she's saying that we should be more fearful of Kaya Rychik being on a library committee than we should be about fights breaking out between our kids in school bathrooms. And honestly, I think that that's really what she wants us to believe.
For those who don't know what Libs of TikTok is, it's a TikTok app, a TikTok sort of group of people who go after LGBTQ plus people. And this is just one headline. Who was targeted by Libs of TikTok, was sent death threats, lost his job, was accused of grooming. They basically go after people. A guy named Tyler Wynn was featured in...
Let's be clear about what Libs of TikTok is. Libs of TikTok started, or Kaya Rychik started this account during the 2020 pandemic. And essentially all she started doing was pulling videos from TikTok and posting them on her Twitter account and just saying, this is what they are teaching your kids. These are the things that they want to be able to expose your kids to. She never changed the narrative. She never edited them. She never took out words, nothing. She just posted exactly what people were saying for themselves. And when you see somebody saying they were targeted by Libs of TikTok and sent death threats and lost their job, it was probably because they were exposed for doing something inappropriate or teaching inappropriate content in the classroom. So that is, of course, an important factor that these media people refuse to acknowledge. Because if they actually talked about the fact that all Kaya does is post things about what people are saying for themselves, she's not editing them, she's not adding anything to the story, then that would go against their own narrative. Even the banner across their news story is misleading. It says 16-year-old non-binary student dies after school fight, which, yes, they died after a school fight, but not as a result of the school fight. But again, it just goes to their constant intention to mislead people. And if all you ever do is read the banners of these media stories, you are never going to get the full story. You are never going to get the context. You are never going to get those crucially important details that allow you to actually think for yourself.
It's this culture of violent rhetoric and actions that are really traumatizing our community.
Our community recognizes a hate crime when we see one. And this has all the markings of it. And it's doubly concerning when the state superintendent has called trans people an assault on truth and appointed Libs of TikTok founder Kaya Rychik to the school library board.
Are you concerned that something is being missed by the local police?
The nature of the conflicting police reports around concerns around foul play, along with saying that a student who was assaulted by 3 of their classmates did not die in relationship to that assault the day before. I think if we want to get to justice for Nex Benedict and their family, the Department of Justice needs to step in.
And of course, they're saying, well, we recognize a hate crime when we see one, except for you don't, because Nex is the one who started the fight, and Nex is the one who took her own life. And it had absolutely nothing to do with this particular fight, because, again, you have to ignore every other thing that has happened in this girl's life that led her to this decision. And it is not because of her pronouns, and it is actually pretty disgusting that these people keep saying that. And then she even got a statement from the President of the United States that says, Jill and I are heartbroken by the recent loss of Nex Benedict. Every young person deserves to have the fundamental right and freedom to be who they are and feel safe and supported at school and in their communities. And not only that, these people seemed actually genuinely sad that this was a self-inflicted situation versus something that happened as a direct result of the fight.
My heart absolutely sank when I saw this headline a few minutes ago because Republicans are going to have a field day with this. Kaya Rychik is going to just add this into a pile of memes about trans people self-inflicting certain things, let's say. I feel like especially straight and cis people are going to have a very easy time losing sight of what caused Nex's passing. Because now people are going to just blame Nex instead of blaming the systems and the bullying and everything that actually directly led to this happening.
First of all, nobody should be having a field day with this situation at all because a young girl took her own life, and the only people having a field day with it are the people who want you to believe that her death was as a result of this legislation, again, that doesn't allow kids to access sexually explicit books in school, or, doesn't want kids under the age of 18 to make permanent decisions about mutilating their body. These people have been having a field day with this situation since it happened. So then I want to bring in this story about this teenager in Missouri, and the video has been circulating online. It is pretty horrific to watch. I do not recommend it. I have seen it a few times at this point, and every single time it just makes my stomach turn. But just as a recap, you can see these two girls yelling at each other. This one here that's on top that actually ended up inflicting these horrific wounds, it is relevant to note she is black, the other girl is white. They start kind of going at each other, hitting each other. She grabs her, throws her on the ground, and starts punching her as hard as she can. And then she gets her on her back and grabs her and starts slamming her head into the pavement repeatedly. She then stands up and goes, and there are numerous fights happening around her. And this girl that's on the ground, her name is Kaylee Gain. You can see her laying on the ground, convulsing from what just happened to the back of her head. The stories that have come out since then have said that Kaylee is in critical condition. She is fighting for her life. She is currently in a coma, and the parents have said that they are not going to know the extent of the brain damage that she has suffered because they are fully prepared for that to be a reality. They're not going to know until she wakes up. And this story matters. All of these stories matter because if these people truly care about violence in schools and the struggles that these young people are facing, and about wanting to make sure that all kids are able to go to school and have a safe environment and not worry about being physically attacked and assaulted and losing their lives, then they would care about this story just as much. And if you want to talk about being able to recognize a hate crime, the girl that attacked her was black and this girl was white. And if they really care about harmful policies that create a hostile environment for students, then they would be acknowledging the fact that DEI has pretty much been forced into this school district. Yet for some reason, whatever they're learning from DEI programs is not fostering the environment of inclusivity that they keep telling us that it's meant to do. In this post here, it says in August of 2021, it was announced that the school was requiring the uniformed police officers who were in the schools to take the school district's DEI training, and the police agencies refused. They declined to do so, so the school booted them off campus. In other words, the school are more in favor of racial divisiveness than in having school resource officers on their campuses. So what role did this radical divisive DEI indoctrination program play in preventing a police officer from being present and detecting this and or from causing the racial divisiveness that may have motivated this? And nowhere in the media are they talking about all parents that should be concerned about their student potentially facing this circumstance at school or potentially being attacked to the point of almost losing their lives. They're only talking about the concern for parents of LGBTQ students and about the threat to non-binary students or anybody that is part of the alphabet mafia. This is just another example of the government, of the media, picking winners and losers and deciding who is essential and who isn't. So when the media says that they care so much about violence in schools and about the threats that students might face just by walking into the classroom or, walking around on school grounds, they only care if your student falls into a particular category. Everybody else can apparently just kick rocks. They don't care about divisiveness. They don't care about violence. They don't care about our kids' safety. They don't care about teachers' safety. They don't care about bullying. They don't care about these kids who lose their lives in these situations. And I just want to reiterate, I am truly heartbroken about what Nex was going through in her life. Her pronouns don't matter. Her identity doesn't matter. She matters because she was a human being, and she clearly had a lot of struggles in her life, and she deserved a lot better than the hand that she was dealt. And I am hoping and praying for Kaylee Gain. I hope that she recovers. I hope that the damage that she has experienced, I hope that it doesn't leave the permanent effects that are likely going to come as a result of this. I hope that she is able to live a full and fulfilling life. And I also hope that the girl that inflicted this on her faces the fullest extent of the law and that she is tried as an adult, because when you make adult decisions like that, you face adult consequences. So I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please hit that like button. It does help my channel. It helps to push the content out to more people who might find it interesting. Please make sure that you are subscribed because I am trying to get to 10,000 subscribers sooner rather than later. I hope that you are all doing well and staying sane amongst the chaos. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.